God damn. My God. Okay, look. We've been through a lot, Raider Nation, a lot of coaching regimes, a lot of turnover. We've been through a lot of these introductory press conferences. We've had like 4 in 6 years or something crazy like that. Mark Davis's face showed you that he would not like to do this again. And each time we have these introductory press conferences with the new GM and the new coach, we find a way to convince ourselves feels different. We're going to be competitive. This is the regime to fix everything. It's going to be the guru like McDaniels or the Raider like AP or Gruden. This is going to be the time to get it done. And we say over and over, we're not going to repeat that cycle. We're going to wait and see. We're going to wait and see. And now the Pete Carroll and John Spytek press conference happens, and everybody's saying this feels different, and we're going to do it this year, and we're going to turn things around, and Pete's the guy. If you think I'm going to let this press conference, where they say all the right things and hype you up, change my way of thinking, or make me think or push me in the direction that we're going to win the division next year, we're going to compete for a playoff spot, you've got another thing coming. Or maybe I can't help myself. It was pretty good. It was a pretty good press conference. Look, we all knew this was going to happen. We knew they would say all the right things, and we would feel really good about it. And I'll be honest with you. AP and Tom Telesco, I would argue, had a pretty similar press conference in terms of rhetoric that was spewed. Instead of Marshawn Lynch screaming Raiders, it was AP screaming Raiders, right? We remember. And when we saw that press conference, which it's crazy, it's been a year since that's happened, but whatever. When we saw that press conference, we thought, okay, Telesco seems like he knows what he's doing. And AP, we got this thing rocking and rolling. And he said all the right things. And Spytek and Carroll said similar things today when I'm recording this. The difference is, when someone like John Spytek says this as a first-time GM, it's got a little more energy to it rather than a Telesco who's just been through the ringer. And when Pete Carroll says the same things or around the same things that AP was saying sentiment-wise, obviously Pete Carroll knows more, it has more weight to it because he's actually done the things that he says he wants to do and is going to do. And that's why it feels different. So obviously I was doing a little funny bit about how I'm not excited. I'm extremely excited. But if you're wondering, well, why every year do we feel so excited? Especially from last year to this year, when, again, the stuff that was said feels similar enough, right? It's just classic press conference introductory jargon. And we'll get into the specifics of it with Spytek and Carroll. The reason why it feels actually different this time, which is a cliche thing, but it feels different this time, is because Pete Carroll, again, has the experience and the, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the respect, the importance of his words mean a lot, right? He has the benefit of the doubt to take like a negative approach to it, but it's all the same thing. Like he knows what he's doing. He can get the train on the tracks, like I've said. So I'm going to go through some notes here, things that stood out to me, and there's some big moments here that I think showed you the trajectory of this team, how they want to build the roster. The quarterback position was talked a lot. They referenced Max Crosby. All these things I need to discuss. A couple things I want to tell you real fast. Patreon.com/ALLaBorde Writers. Link is in the description below. If you sign up, you get your name at the end of the credits. You get exclusive content, never before seen content on YouTube that will never go up on YouTube, ad-free content. videos days in advance. And then if you upgrade your tier, you get a monthly YouTube advice show from yours truly and ad-free videos, which I think I already said. Link is in the description below. Also, the Discord, which is free. Big Raider group chat. Link is in the description below as well. Hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. John Spytek, 44 years old. I'll say it. Handsome guy. And I'll move on from that. What I liked about him, and I'm just comparing him to Telesco because I like Telesco. I do. And I thought he did a good job. What I like about Spytek right off the rip is that for a new general manager who has a 5-year contract, they've enlisted, they being the ownership group and Pete Carroll to an extent, have instilled in him the confidence to speak upon the roster as if it's his own, because it is. Now, a first-time general manager, it can go one of two ways. They could be too nervous to rock the boat, or they could have the supreme confidence to say, I just came from a organization that just wins division after division, Super Bowl champion. I've seen what it's like. This is how I want to do it. Where Tom Telesco said all the right things, but felt a little more reserved in his style of general managing and reserved in his drafting style. Now, it helped us get great players like Brock Bowers and JPJ and Glaze. But free agency, I mean, Wilkins was good, but Minshew was like the safe play. Like, well, let's just win 7 games and build this thing and buy us another year because Telesco just got fired. He doesn't want to get fired again. John Spytek feels like he's playing with house money a little bit, the way he presents himself. He's very confident in how to build this roster. I've already said things that he said in that podcast a couple years ago, or last year, October last year, about how he wants to draft ready-to-play players. But it was nice to see a GM confident enough to say, this is what I want to do. If this type of player isn't in the building, it's because they don't belong here. He seems like a super nice guy, family man, all that. That doesn't really matter to me all that much, but it's a cherry on top. He referenced Max Crosby immediately. He said, we need to keep good players in the building like you, Max, right there. And that was the first inkling that Max was actually there. I do think this puts all the Max Crosby trade rumors to bed. I know there's rumors floating around. Now, people are probably quick to say, John Gruden said, we're going to bring Khalil Mack here, man, and he's going to be a Raider. We're going to sign Khalil Mack day one. And then he traded him. The difference is Khalil Mack wasn't in the room when he said that, I don't believe. And a couple days later, he was traded. I don't think this is going to be that same situation because, again, Pete Carroll is now involved, somebody who understands the importance of a phenomenal defense. John Gruden was an offensive-minded head coach. We'll trade Mack and we'll try to find, a defensive end in the draft here, and we're just going to build this offense up with all our picks, and we're going to draft Josh Jacobs, and we're going to draft Henry Ruggs, and we're going to get this thing rocking and roll. We're going to be Kansas City Chiefs in Las Vegas. And it didn't work, okay? It didn't work. I mentioned aggressiveness versus Telesco's safe approach. Spytek did say this about the quarterback position. He said there will be no stone unturned for the quarterback position. He referenced the greatest of all time, Tom Brady. It's hilarious now that Raider fans, us as Raider fans, are like dying on the hill of the Tom Brady greatness, which I never thought, the losing coach in Super Bowl 49 and the winning quarterback in Super Bowl 49 would come together to create this super team to try to get the Raiders back into relevancy. No stone unturned at the quarterback position. He referenced Tom Brady, his willingness to be a leader and to outwork everybody. And he said the quarterback that's in this building does not have to have the strongest arm or the biggest body or the fastest legs, which makes sense, right? They won with Tom Brady, who was the most cerebral quarterback we've ever seen, the most highly competitive person on the history, probably of the face of the earth, him and Michael Jordan, and Baker Mayfield. Again, nothing elite about him, but his willingness to compete. So the Shedeur Sanders versus Cam Ward debate, that just goes to show you that they're not going to put Cam Ward above Shedeur Sanders just because of his elite athletic ability and traits compared to Shedeur. That doesn't give him the upper hand. They will draft anybody or sign anybody because he said, if we have the ability to sign a Tom Brady type player, we don't have the ability to do that this year, or to sign a Baker Mayfield type player, we will do that. So anyone looking for the Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Sam Darnold approach, that is also not out of the question. I do think Spytek, like I said, was confident in this early presser. He didn't seem like he was going to hold back. He seemed like the perfect mesh with Pete Carroll. I don't know if you remember. Now, I'm not reading too much into this. Like, they hated each other from the beginning. But when, who was it that asked him? Maybe Paul Gutierrez asked Telesco, did you and AP talk about the 63-point game? Telesco's like, yeah, he talked about it. And AP was like, ha, 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 Chargers suck. And it was like a nice little moment, but there was like this undertone of like, did Tom Telesco like that? Did he really appreciate that? Kind of got him fired. The difference here was when John Spytek referenced his high school football coach who was still coaching at 75, and he kind of like looked at Pete Carroll, like not on purpose, but like kind of was looked his way. Pete Carroll goes, why are you looking at me? And they both started laughing, and they both were like interchanging back and forth. And he was like, no, just a guy who loves football, nothing about the age. He's like, yeah, sure. They absolutely have a partnership together, which is extremely important because Jed Hughes said, go get the coach that's experienced, put him with the first-time GM that can have the same vision. And I think these two together, if anything, are going to go down with the ship of we're going to go after the same people. I don't think you're going to have a situation where it's like, is Dave Ziegler even doing anything? Or is Mike Mayock the Damon Arnett guy? Or is John Gruden the Damon Arnett guy? Whose idea was it to pick Cleveland for Earl? You're not going to have that. And Pete Carroll said as much. Like, you're not going to know who's making the choices because we're doing it as a unit. Mark Davis, Tom Brady, all the other owners, Jed Hughes, Spytek, me, we're all doing this together. And I appreciated the camaraderie that they were building already. And again, Spytek's willingness to say, this is what we're looking for in these players. Like it or not, this is what you got to be. Hey, what's up, Max Crosby? Nice of you to be here. We're going to build this thing. We got some nice young players on the roster, and we're going to get ready to freaking go. I thought he had a very good showing. Let's now talk about Pete Carroll as I take a drink of water away from the microphone. Side note, when you wake up at like 4 a.m, is there anything better than rolling over and drinking some water that's like a little bit cold, just chugging that thing? It's like you're in the middle of the desert and you're dying of thirst and there's an oasis and it's not a mirage. A little bit of a tangent there, but I just love water in the middle of the night. It's the best thing. Or the middle of the morning if you want to be a freak. Pete Carroll, competition. That was his culture. He said, the players build a culture. The culture is competition. It doesn't matter if you're the last undrafted free agent that we've signed or the first pick in the draft. You need to work your tail off. And what I appreciated was, I feel like from the outside looking in, I don't know about you, Taylor Swift is in my head for bad reasons. I don't know about you, but I never watched Pete Carroll speak at a press conference for a long amount of time. I thought he was just kind of like this silly rah-rah guy, and that was my mistake because he clearly knows his shit. Like, he knows how to run a football organization, and he said the culture is the players, and the players need to compete. And if you think about it, when they drafted Russell Wilson in the 3rd round, they signed Matt Flynn to this big-ish contract. They did not hand Matt Flynn the job. Who started week 1 for that team? I believe it was Russell Wilson. Now, if this regime was in place last year and it was Aiden, a rookie 4th rounder, or Gardner Minshew, $15 million, what happened? They started Gardner Minshew because he was the proven vet who was making a lot of money. They would have started Aiden O'Connell. This isn't like we need to start Aiden thing. Forget all about last year's roster. It's going to be completely different. I'm just saying, like, if they were in this position, AP second-guessed himself. He did not go with his gut. Pete Carroll would be like, I'm going with the guy that's the better competitor, and that's Aiden O'Connell without question. Build the team around the quarterback, and you will always be in the game. He said the quarterback position is the hardest position to play in sports. So we need to make that as easy as possible for whoever is playing quarterback for us, whether that is a free agent or a rookie. So we need to build the offensive line, run the football, play good defense. I want to throw something out there. I would like for this moment to go viral. Maybe I'll make a short about it too. There was the Legion of Boom, right? Pete Carroll, Seattle Seahawks, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman, right? Bobby Wagner, Malcolm Smith, former Raider. We need a new nickname for our Seahawks type defense. I'm thinking Legion of Doom. Just throwing that out there. Legion of Doom. Not bad. Black hole-ish. Darth Vader-ish. Thoughts on that? Comment below. Start telling your friends if you like it. Legion of Doom, Legion of Doom, Legion of Doom. Incept people and then say, hey, ALLaBorde Raiders, ever heard of him? He came up with Legion of Doom. I'm throwing it out there. January 27th. It'll be uploaded 28th, 27th on Patreon. Legion of Doom. Make it as easy as possible on the quarterback. So we've got most of the defense in place if we re-sign some people. And I got to tell you, the more I think about it, if we go Sam Darnold or Fields or Geno Smith in free agency or trade, or Russ, if Abdul Carter falls to 6, this guy could be the first pick in the draft. I think Daniel Jeremiah's first mock draft, who he has us taking Shedeur Sanders. I think he has Abdul Carter being the first pick in the draft. If he falls to us, and we have Abdul Carter, Christian Wilkins, Malcolm Kuntz, Tyree Wilson, Max Crosby, that's doomsday. It's doomsday. The Legion of Doom. Re-sign, Hobbs or Merrick and Spillane. Get Wilkins back. Jacorian Bennett's coming on. Divine Diablo's a good linebacker there, making a lot of tackles. Pull him out, came on. This defense, depending on the coordinator, could be something special, especially now with Pete Carroll coaching the team instead of somebody like AP who was a little over his head. To put it nicely, making it as easy as possible. Also, running the football. This running back room is going to be completely different. It's not going to be Alexander Madison, Zamir White, and Amir Abdullah. It could be a Genti. It could be somebody in a later round. It could be a Najee Harris or an Aaron Jones or Nick Chubb. It's got to be somebody to be able to pound the rock because our offensive line came on strong at the end of last season. Better than it was in the beginning of the year. We need to be able to control the time of possession, especially in our interdivision games. I also think that this is Pete Carroll prime. He clearly isn't 73 years old mentally or physically, which would be the only thing to bog him down. He mentioned before he went to USC and won a national championship, he took a year off from the Patriots. He learned so much about himself, he went to USC. He took what he learned from USC, brought it to Seattle. It was very experimental. It was crazy, and it worked, and they won Super Bowls. They fell off a little bit at the end, although his worst season had like 8 wins, which is better than our best season the last couple of seasons. Then he took another year off, and now he's in Las Vegas. I believe he has all the knowledge of how he was successful at USC and Seattle with all the knowledge of everything he did wrong in Seattle. I think this is the best version you will ever see of Pete Carroll coaching. The only difference between him in Seattle and him now, because he's still physically perfectly fine, is that he has more knowledge, and he had that other year off to learn how the game is played now. It's not John Gruden who took 9 years off and came back, and we were like, does he still know how football works? Like, does he know that the touchback is at the 25 now? I think this is Pete Carroll prime. Looks over to Max Crosby and says, hey, Max, spread the word. Tell everybody we're coming. Now, you could take that 2 ways. I don't think he was saying, like, tell the rest of the division that we're coming for you. Like, AP was like, you got to play us twice a year. Yeah, so we can get our ass kicked, AP. I think he was saying, like, Max, tell the other players in this building we're coming to show them how this shit is done. And Max was like, I got you, bro. Like, Max Crosby is signing this extension the second he can. I don't know if he can right now. I think you have to wait till after the Super Bowl. I could be wrong on that. Someone comment below. Max is going to be here for the foreseeable future. Future, SpongeBob. The last thing I want to talk about that Pete Carroll said that really just made me happy is that he said this is in no way, shape, or form a rebuild. He said when he went to USC and he went to Seattle, it took him a couple years each time to get to the pinnacle of where they wanted to be, a Super Bowl or a national championship. And he said, we're starting to go after this thing right now. We're going to do whatever it takes to be competitive and to get into the playoffs and win a Super Bowl immediately because we don't have 5, 6, 7 years to do this thing. Raider Nation deserves better. We've got some talented people on this roster. We've got a bunch of picks. We've got a bunch of free agent capital. It starts right now. This is not a rebuild. And John Spytek has experience creating competitive environment and team-friendly rosters to be able to win games post Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. They've won 2 straight divisions since he retired. And they were saying, oh, the division sucks. Whoa, sorry. Siri, shut up. People say, oh, the division sucks. Nobody thought the Bucs were going to win the division after Brady left with Baker Mayfield. And everyone was picking this year the Kirk Cousins-led Falcons to win the division. And what happened? The Bucs won the division. And won a playoff game and almost won another playoff game this year. I don't expect to win the division next year. I'm not even expecting to make the playoffs. But what I will say is this. Without a shadow of a doubt, I expect to be competitive in every single game we play. I expect to win a few games, especially early in the season, before people really have a chance to take us seriously, that nobody thought we could win. And I expect this offense to look better than it's ever been, with this defense finally playing up to its full potential, healthy with new additional free agents. I'm very excited to see how this offseason goes. Like I said, for us, the regular season is ended. The playoffs are about to end. The Las Vegas Raiders season starts right now. And as cliche and as annoying as it is to say it every single season because we keep firing and hiring coaches, this actually feels different because this is the first time we have a coach in place that the things that he said, he's done like 2 years ago or last year. So I'm very excited. What say you? Comment below. Let me know your thoughts. I'll be live on Bleacher Report Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. I also have another channel that I've been promoting from time to time, ALLaBorde Productions, where we react to movies or TV shows for the first time. Check that out, ALLaBorde Productions. I just posted an episode or a video where I'm crying the whole time. If you want to see me cry like an idiot, go over there and check that out. Like I said, join the Patreon, join the Discord, drop likes, drop comments, and please be sure to subscribe. It's free after all, no charge to you. I love you guys. And I'll see you next time.